Every morning the world starts quietly, one soft light at a time. Homes flicker awake, shops open. People take those first small steps into a brand new day. And in all of that ordinary movement, there's something kind of extraordinary. A moment worth noticing, a spark you feel before you even name it. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's small, but kindness shows up right on time. And every morning we choose to show up with you so we can look for that spark together.
Good morning. I'm Matt Roof, the Uncommon Kindness Guy, and this is Kindness Rising. Let's rise together.
Yes, indeed. This is Kindness Rising. Top of the morning to you, Mr. Billis, and Ms. Jess, rocking it this morning. And we are here on Kindness Rising. Have you ever had an idea that sounded absolutely brilliant? Right up until the moment it wasn't? Maybe it was a purchase. Maybe it was a text message. Maybe it was a social media comment or that second helping of dessert. Or maybe it was a baseball promotion involving unlimited 10-cent beer. What could possibly go wrong? Well, today we're going to find out for sure, because on this day in 1974, a Major League Baseball team accidentally created one of the most legendary disasters in sports history. And believe it or not, it just might have something to teach us about relationships. Rocking the theme. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Kindness Rising. What a crew we've got assembled this morning here with Keith and Jess and Kathleen, Kathy the Donkey, Mike Sullivan, Cheryl Raphael Whitaker. Hello. What a crew. Wow, everybody's in the house. Thank you so much for joining us today as we're going to have a little bit of fun on 10-cent beer anniversary, beer-anniversary. It's a beer-anniversary, everyone. I think one of the greatest challenges, honestly, in adulthood is learning that freedom and responsibility, they kind of go together. We love freedom. Freedom feels good. It feels exciting and empowering. But responsibility, that's the part that nobody puts on the brochure. All that adulting, right? Most of the biggest problems happen when those two things separate. Absolutely. Xavier, what's up, dude? Welcome in. I am glad you're here. Subscribe to the channel. Join me every weekday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, for a little bit of more high fives for humanity, less rage bait, and just a little more fun. Light way to get started, little education, little history reminder. We're going to do a who's who. Don't forget about our who's who. I'll be giving you a clue shortly. First clue of 3, then we do our reveal, and next we'll continue to talk about what happened today and how it relates to what we talk about here on Kindness Rising. Absolutely. Most of the biggest problems happen when responsibility and freedom get separated. Without financial responsibility, the freedom to spend money, that doesn't really work, right? The freedom to speak without considering its impact, the freedom to react without taking a breath, the freedom to hit send without reading it one more time. We've all had our own version of the 10-cent beer night, moments when we ask, what's the worst thing that could happen? And life responded, hold my 10-cent beer. I got a list. That is what we're going to talk about a little bit later, that 10-cent beer. But first, of course, we got to do it. We got to get involved in the chat. Come say hello. Kindness Rising on Mornings in the Lab Network every weekday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern. Subscribe here. Join us, then watch the other channels at mornings.live. Yep, that's it. That's the one. Or check out Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and Friends on YouTube or wherever you're watching. And check out It Starts With Joy with Cheryl Raphael Whitaker. And check out Thoughts and Coffee with Sarah Barnes Humphrey when you want to know more about what's going on in the world of supply chain. We've got it all. What the Truck with our guys from the U.S. military, showing the way that veterans contribute when they come home. More shows being added on the regular on Mornings in the Lab Network, and you are here with it. And I'm here every day, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, to get you up with a little bit more hope and humanity. And of course, to have a little fun. Who in the world? Who in the world are we talking about today? Let's add our clue to the stage and talk about it. This is a person before becoming a media icon. They survived one of history's darkest chapter as a child refugee during World War One. Not two, one, not three. That's on the way, but it hasn't happened yet. World War One. Childhood refugee. There you go. This is our first clue on our who's who. Who's who? All right. Yep. But let's get into it. Let's do it. Let's do our wait. That happened today? Yep, it's wait that happened today, June 4th, 1974. Where were you? Do you remember where you were June 4th, 1974? I don't. I was 2 years old. I don't remember it. Perhaps my father was involved. I don't know. The Cleveland Indians. The classic Cleveland Indians. Remember the movie Major League? Yep. Struggling to attract fans. And somebody came up with this idea. Let's just give people 10-cent beers. Everybody will come for 10-cent beers. What could possibly go wrong? Whew. Beer was sold just 10 cents a cup. And there was technically a limit, but fans could just go back and buy more. And this wasn't exactly a calm environment to begin with. Absolutely. There were tensions between the two teams that were playing from previous games. The crowd was energized, the emotions were high, and as the evening unfolded, things got progressively stranger. Things are gonna get stranger. Let's get on with the show. You guys know that song? Things are gonna get stranger. Fans ran into the field. Firecrackers set off in the stand, objects thrown. At one point, fans were literally stealing the bases from the baseball field. Not the concept of stealing bases. They were actually picking up the bases and running away with them from the field. And then in the ninth inning, it just exploded. Hundreds of fans rushed the fields. Players from both sides wound up defending themselves. The Rangers, the visiting team retreated, and Cleveland forfeited the game. But 10-cent beer night was a great idea, right? That's what fascinates me. They brought people into the stands. We have to be careful about the unintended consequences, and certainly nobody planned for a riot. Nobody woke up in the morning hoping things would spiral out of control, and everyone intended to go there to have a good time. Unfortunately, that's often how problems begin, not through bad intentions, but through lack of boundaries, through poor planning, and through failing to think one step ahead. No more 10-cent beers in Major League Baseball stands. You weren't even thought of yet, Jess. That's funny. Yep. Yeah, I hear you. All right. Well, you have the advantage of youth then, I guess. Welcome in, Jess. Of course, I appreciate the way you participate so much with our show. All right. That was the 10-cent beer night. Remember it. Check it out. There's like documentaries that were done about. There's tons of images from it. It's wild. Like, I cannot imagine what is going on. I don't know. Have you ever been, I'll ask the question, have you ever been involved in like a sports riot or a riot of any kind, a protest that escalated or evolved into the or devolved into violence or debauchery, whatever you want to call it? I have not been involved in that, but I will tell. Hey, Hal Holroyd, welcome in, buddy. The OG, the original first visitor in our chat, and in Mornings in the Lab. Anyway, I was telling my story. My story is this: I've never been involved in an unfortunate riot. I have been in a celebratory riot in the streets. Probably one of the most unique experiences that I have been involved in myself. And it's appropriate here in 2026, 28 years later. Oof. 28 years later, in 1998, I was serendipitously blessed, I don't know, to be on the Champs-Elysees the time that France won the World Cup. Yep, I was in Paris as France became the World Cup champions in FIFA 1998. And I've never, it was scary, exciting. I mean, I'd never been in Times Square for New Year's Eve, especially back when it was what it always has been. Absolute chaos, celebratory chaos. Luckily, most people were not being obnoxious or violent, or everybody was hugging and screaming and dancing, and it was a pretty wild time. Easter egg hunts with hundreds of kids. Well, I'll tell you what, that could devolve into chaos pretty quick, especially if there's 10-cent beers involved. Were there 10-cent beers at your Easter egg hunt? Oh, that's funny, Jess. Okay, so let's keep it going. Anyway, I was in if you ever have a chance, that was quite a fever there. Obviously, the Europeans are known for their celebration of their sport, football, soccer, whatever you want to call it, and it was a scene. All right. That's a life experience that I had. Oh, you saw a fight, Kathleen? I hate that. Yeah. Okay. Let's do our spotlight and not talk about fights, because that's what. Oh, let's talk about what the spotlight is for today. If I can get there. There it is, the famous Kindness Rising spotlight drop, and today we're talking about this. The National Conflict Resolution Center. There's a 10-cent beer night out of anything. It's rarely that conflict begins at its most extreme level. It absolutely escalates. Emotions rise, one bad decision becomes another, communication breaks down, and people stop listening. They start reacting, and before long, everyone is wondering, how the hell did we get here? The National Conflict Resolution Center helps individuals, families, workplaces, schools, and communities develop the skills needed to navigate disagreements before they become full-blown conflict. Absolutely. Probably a skill we all could use a little bit of. The conflict isn't the problem. That's part of being human. We embrace the conflict. The challenge is how to handle it productively. How to listen without immediately preparing our rebuttal, or how to find solutions instead of winners and losers. That's what conflict resolution is all about. And sometimes the strongest thing you can do isn't to win an argument. It's to invite someone to help you find a path forward, to help everyone find a path forward. 10-cent beer night became famous for how badly things escalated, but most conflicts don't ever have to reach that point. And that is what the National Conflict Resolution Center can help us do. That's it. That's the spotlight for today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, here we go. Are we ready for more of Who in the World? Who in the World? Have we guessed it yet? But that's not what I want to have on the stage. There it is. Boom. Before becoming a media icon, this person survived one of history's darkest chapters as a child refugee during World War I. I have a feeling some of you might know it from this second clue. Standing just 4 feet 7 inches tall, this person became one of the most recognizable voices in American media during the 80s and the 90s. A childhood refugee during World War I who became a notable voice in American media during the 80s and 90s. Oh yes, quite diminutive person too, as well. 4'7" diminutive person. Kathleen, I figured you might have the answer. I'm going to guess that others might too. An argument can turn into a conversation with patience and empathy. I love that, Jess. Absolutely. Thanks. All right. That was clue number 2. All right. Are we ready? Okay. How's everybody doing out there? Sully, haven't heard much from you today. How are you doing, buddy? I saw your posts, your LinkedIn's. I love it. I love the way you're connecting so much with us here at Mornings in the Lab. Jess, of course, and Kathleen. Anybody who wants to come and join us, you are all welcome. But Sully, your acknowledgement of your work and the impact that getting up early and getting going out on LinkedIn was inspirational to me. It means something to me. And the fact that you reposted a video of us and talked about it, promoted the show, that's what's meaning to me. Not promoting the show, not promoting the network, it's promoting the work we're doing to get people up and get going bright and early. Subscribe to the channel right here on Kindness Rising. Don't forget to join Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and friends at 8 o'clock and all the shows on the Mornings in the Lab network, where we wake up on the right side of the bed with a little bit more high fives for humanity and a little less rage bait. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Okay, here we go. Let's talk about our kindness. I'm calling it the kindness current now. I don't know why. It's just what I call it in my head a little bit. But oh boy, anybody else a little scared about the discovery that happened there down in Texas? They can easily get us scared. Strange news stories when the name sounds like a rejected professional wrestling character. The screw worm. Ladies and gentlemen, in this corner, the screw worm. And yes, it's real. This week, agricultural officials confirmed the case of the New World screw worm in South Texas. Absolutely. A major response from the USDA and state officials there. Before anybody panics, though, we want to talk about the name and what it does. 2 famous screw worms. I can't get them saying screw worm. It's so funny. The New World screw worm, that lives right here in America. The Old World screw worm, that lives primarily in Africa, Asia, and parts of the Middle East. Same nightmare, different hemisphere, like in Coke and Pepsi. But guess what? Nobody wants either one of those. And why is it a big deal? Right? Most insects, this is kind of disgusting, but it's true. They'll feed on dead tissue, right? That's why we see flies and bugs on dead roadkill and all that stuff. But screw worms, they'll really screw you. They feed on living tissue. That makes a threat to livestock, wildlife, pets, and unfortunately, occasionally humans. Oof. Flesh-eating bacteria. That's what when they talk about flesh-eating, it's not bacteria though, flesh-eating insect. But luckily, this isn't humanity's first rodeo. One of the cool side stories you've probably never heard of is that the United States largely eliminated screw worms decades ago by releasing millions of sterile flies into the wild. We fought flies with more flies. Science is weird and wonderful. Officials are already deploying many of those same tools today. So despite the scary headline, this is less about run for the hills than it is smart people are handling it. And honestly, that's the kindness story here. Scientists, vets, veterinarians, that is, farmers, researchers, maybe some veterans, I don't know, people quietly solving problems most of us never knew even existed. And most of us woke up this morning without thinking about flesh-eating insects. And if those people are doing their job well, we won't have to do it tomorrow either. That is the screw worms. All right. Wish we didn't taste so good. Seems like we're on many bugs menus. That's right. Oof. Yeah. All right. Jess and Kathleen keeping the chat alive today for us. I appreciate you. Both of you kind of have a hunch. I figured you might. I don't know. After stumping you with Marvin Hamlish, I forget who. Skin So Soft. Avon Skin So Soft. Magical bug repellent. I agree. My father taught me that when he always carried a thing of Avon Skin So Soft in his golf bag. And he used to get made fun of for it until the bugs came out. He's like, I'm fine. Avon Skin So Soft. I don't know why. Why is that, Kathleen? Do you know? It's definitely like a Gen X hack, not hack, but product repurpose. I don't know what you'd call it. But yeah, I agree. All right. Anyway, enough of these silly kindness current news. We got to get to our third clue. Time is wasting, and I'm sure that you guys probably already know, but all right. We talked about the fact that this person was a media icon and survived a dark chapter as a childhood refugee in World War I, and that they were just 4 feet 7 tall. Wow. One of the most recognizable voices in American media during the 80s and 90s. And lastly, there's the one that will probably open the floodgates of knowledge. Educators spent decades helping people talk about relationships, intimacy, human connection with honesty, humor, and surprisingly little embarrassment. Probably the first sex therapist any one of us had ever heard of. That's my third clue. I think you guys know who I'm talking about today. If I can get my thing going. There it is. Jess, you are on it. I'm sure Kathleen was too. Citronella plants. There you go. Kathleen, can I ask you a question? Why are you eating the skin so soft? I'm kidding. You probably just put it on your face and then you tasted it. But stop eating the skin so soft. It's so great. All right. Let's get our kindness compass. Then we'll get talking a little bit more about Dr. Ruth and the impact that she had on all of us. Kindness compass, because we always leave you with a little something to walk away with, a little something to, I don't know, a few ideas, things you can do today to take our ideas that we're talking about here on Kindness Rising and move them maybe a little bit into action and improve your day. 5 ways. 5 ways to prevent your own 10-cent beer night. How about just don't drink a shit ton of beer? Sometimes it's fun to do that. But how about let's start with starting in the right headspace before you start drinking by pausing. Pausing before reacting. More regrets move faster. Most regrets move faster than wisdom. Absolutely. Just pause and ask what happens next. Consequences often hide one step beyond that immediate decision. It feels good at the time. Well, wait a second. Did we think it through all the way? I love this one. This is one that I haven't always practiced in my life, and one that I'm starting to learn how to do better still at 54 years old. Address small conflicts early. Don't let them fester. Tiny misunderstandings, they tend to grow when they're ignored, and people start filling in the blanks and making up stories and assumptions. Address those small conflicts early, and I bet things will cool down just a little bit for you. Number 4, seek understanding before victory. Love that. First, seek to understand. Wasn't that somebody said that, right? Absolutely. Winning an argument and solving a problem are definitely not the same thing. Definitely not the same thing. Solve a problem together. Sometimes your idea is the one. Sometimes it matches with somebody else's, but who knows? We just know that solving the problem and winning are not always the same thing. And remember that freedom and responsibility, they travel together. The healthiest relationships balance both. A little bit of freedom, a little bit of responsibility, and we're all moving forward. Kathleen, me too. We're conflict avoiders. We're conflict avoiders. I know that. I know that about myself. I'm always the mill guy. I'm the peacemaker. We know these things about ourselves, but we learn over time how to match that with the ability to set boundaries or to express ourselves fully, and right down to it as we age, giving less of a shit about what people think. That's what I know I have. I used to care so much about what people thought of me. I don't. And most people are just absorbed in their own shit anyway. So that's just the way it is. That's probably advice. Maybe not the kind of advice, but maybe I learned that advice from Dr. Ruth. Dr. Ruth Westheimer. Obviously, some of our people here remember. Anybody else out there? Dr. Ruth, the sex therapist from the 80s and the 90s, saying things that I remember being like, what is this old lady saying right now? And being so shocked about it myself. Absolutely. Dr. Ruth. But the way she talked about things was so accessible, right? Warmth, humor, compassion, without shame. Without shames. And she helped millions of people have conversation they might have otherwise avoided. Kathleen, I get it. Yeah, I get it. You could feel a little cringy, especially when Dr. Ruth shows up and you're sitting there with your parents or your children, right? We all have those weird feelings, but it's important. It's important that we talk about things, and we talk about things honestly, and we listen carefully, right? She opened up worlds and ideas for people that otherwise would not have happened. She opened the door for so many more that have come after her, including our own right here on Mornings in the Lab, Brianna Bass, who shows up on Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and friends on Tuesdays, 9 o'clock. I forget what time exactly, but with her with her sex, intimacy, and relationship advice on Mornings in the Lab on Tuesday. So I'm sure that Dr. Ruth opened doors for Brianna. Anyway, that's it. We are winding down. We talked about Dr. Ruth. We talked about 10-cent beer night. Go have a couple beers, but keep it real. Yes, Jess, I agree. I think it's important, though, that we put it in context and in light, right? Academic subject. Yeah. And not an embarrassing. It doesn't have to be embarrassing. Sometimes it's salacious or whatever, or funny. We make a lot of jokes about that. But Dr. Ruth definitely put a different spin on it for us and made conversations that otherwise would have been less comfortable, more comfortable. All right. The end. So that's it. We have wound down on another day here at Kindness Rising. But we're just getting started on the Mornings in the Lab Network. Get on over to Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and friends. Absolutely one of the strangest nights in sports history. We learned about absolutely. And the question that usually isn't asked. What could possibly go wrong? What small thing did we ignore before it got here? Because kindness often lives in that space between impulse and action, between emotion and reaction, and between what we're free to do and what we're wise enough not to do. Absolutely. Thanks for spending your morning with us here on Kindness Rising. Get on over to Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and friends. And remember, just because something is 10 cents, only 10 cents, doesn't necessarily mean it's a good idea. Come back tomorrow. We'll talk about it some more. Until then, stay uncommon and stay kind.